Right, welcome ladies and gents. Let's talk about She-Hulk episode 2. This will be my spoiler review, should I say. I think first things first, it's really important to talk about the show's length. This episode's length was very, very short, ran about 20 minutes long. And that's the kind of elephant in the room which needs to be addressed first and foremost, regardless of the content of the episode. Which I know a lot of people will be like, well, the content was good or whatever. Let's address this first. If you can't, tell your story across 10 episodes, and that story arc, that character arc, whatever it may be, doesn't fit down into good runtime length of episodes, then that's bad. It's either a bad character arc, story arc, bad narrative you're looking to push, tell, or you got bad writers that can't condense it down. Whatever it may be, a lot of it comes down to the choices being bad. A 20-minute episode, because that's what this was. The intro ran about 2.5 minutes or something like that. I timed it. The episode actually started at 28 minutes 28 minutes and 40 seconds left, and then there was about 7 to 8 minutes of credits. So it's a 20-minute long episode. That's fundamentally a bad choice to go with. People want something a little bit more. They want to feel like their episode, especially in a show like this, which has been touted to be a bit sitcom-esque, right? They want that format. I mean, if you're going to tout it as that, don't then change the format. We want normal episode lengths. 20 minutes is not good enough as an episode length. It's just not. And you don't expect 20-minute long episodes. No one wants a 20-minute long episode. And it comes down to bad writing. That's all it is. It's bad writing. Whether that's the narrative that they're looking to tell, the overarching story, whatever it may be, or just the inability of the writers at hand to condense it down. You should be able to tell that story in equal parts across the season. And 20 minutes, it just isn't good enough. It's just not. There's no two ways about it, and that's bad. So straight off the bat, we have to address that. That was bad. And to go off that, Jessica Gao, the head writer on this show, has been running really major damage control. And I've never seen this. It's unprecedented. I threw a tweet out, actually. So follow me over on Twitter, at Missed8Reviews. I tweeted about this and I said, have we ever seen someone working for Marvel running so much damage control during or immediately preceding the release of a show, or whilst it's even being aired? So many comments being made. No, Kevin Feige made us tell the origin story at the start. I wanted it later. Couldn't tell the origin story that I wanted, or we had to change the origin story because blah blah. So much damage control. And I think fundamentally the writers that they've had on the show are bad. Genuinely terrible writers. And as a result of them being exposed as bad writers, the writers themselves are trying to save their careers. That's all I can tell, because I've never seen it before. And it's very strange to see it with Marvel. You just don't... They're normally pretty uniformed, right? They're normally in line. You don't normally get this sort of backstabbing, weird nature between them all. It's very strange. So that's the writing kind of out of the way. What happened in this episode? Well, not an awful lot. We find out that she's then been fired as a result of transforming in the first episode. Titania is stated to be a superhero influencer, or a superpowered influencer. Great, I guess. They're going down the influencer route. I think that's super sad, super pathetic. That's an element of modern day society that we didn't have to include in this show. We could have just avoided that. I think that's like a shame, massive shame. We're going down the route of influencers. Fuck off. Like, no, I don't want to watch that nonsense. So she loses her job. She's trying to get another job. And she gets offered a job towards the end of the episode. It's working for the opposing law firm that she was facing off against. They realised she had a winning strategy, but they managed to cause a mistrial because, of course, the jury would be influenced by her changing and saving their lives. And they go, cool, you're going to head up our superhero division, our superpowered division, and you need to represent the Abomination. Okay, cool. Well, you know that, he tried to kill my cousin. Yeah, we're aware. He signed a waiver for that. That's fine. No worries. And then she goes to meet him. Great performance, of course. But he's like, yeah, I've changed my ways. Namaste. And he has changed his ways. He's now human. He's not the Abomination. And he can transform basically at will by the looks of it. Cool. And I actually thought that part was quite interesting. I quite liked that part because Emil, I think the character's name is, but he actually does convey his point across quite well. Like, I mean, it's like, I was a decorated soldier. I was hired by the US, your government, to track down the Hulk. They pumped me full of super soldier serum. They created me. And I'm in here, but the Hulk's out there. That doesn't seem like justice. And you know what? I actually really liked that element, but they really should have leaned into that a hell of a lot more. Because that right there is a very compelling story. Like a genuinely compelling story. And if you're looking at it from a perspective of how they've set this character of She-Hulk up, that actually runs not immediately parallel, FYI, but there are parallels there. Right? Each of these humans have been given this ability that, they either thought they were doing for the greater good, or it's come to them through no fault of their own. Obviously, the blood of the Hulk fell into Jen, and that's how she became the Hulk. But this man was trying to do, a service. He was trying to beat the Hulk, take him down, because that's what he thought. That's what he was told to do. And there's a parallel there. Given something which they didn't fully understand, they didn't fully want by someone, they could have really leaned into that a hell of a lot more. And this goes down to the writing. The writers are just bad. They're trying to, I don't know, just tell a really simplistic and crap, shallow story when they could be telling something significantly deeper, or at the very least, should I say, exploring characters on a much, much deeper level, and they're just not. So that was a shame. And anyway, it then cuts to her having a quick phone call with Bruce by saying, should I accept this job? Because obviously I've got to represent the Abomination. He's like, yeah, it's fine, no worries. She then phones her boss up, accepts the job, and he goes, oh, by the way, Jen, you should probably check the news. She flicks on the news, and the Abomination is in a cage fight. Now, that's the cage fight from Shang-Chi. I like that because, again, that opens up the potential for something. Was he lying to her? Probably. Was he not? Who knows? We don't know. It looks like the boss might have been aware that that's what he's been doing anyway. So if that is the case, how do these things happen? It's just interesting. There's some potential for exploration there, but I think that they'll probably gloss over it. And you know what? Maybe I'll be proved wrong as to why they didn't bother to explore. That's, again, very compelling element, I think, of the parallels between Jen and the Abomination, and obviously the sort of serums and the gamma radiation that they both have, etc. Right? I think there's an element there which could be quite compelling, and maybe I'll be proven, wrong as to why they didn't explore it. Who knows? But then it just ended. That was it, done. Now, we did have some really dumb stuff pop up into this, into this episode. The attorney that she worked with turns around and goes, poor show of you, Jen, transforming, blah, 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 blah. They sort of shut him down, and then he's like, oh, well, there's a hot girl over there, I'm going to go talk to it. And I'm like, for goodness sake, like, no one really talks like that. Seriously? And you know what? When I say these things, people go, yeah, but I'm aware people do. But it's such a minority, right? When we stereotype people in that fashion and sort of present it as the whole, it's no wonder why people get annoyed about this kind of stuff. And I just feel that there's a massive double standard with a lot of these things. We as dudes are said to accept that we accept that it's fine for people to mouth off about men murdering women and stuff like this. I mean, no, it's not okay. Like, it's good that we're in uproar over the first episode where she mentioned, well, if I get catcalled, I could wind up dead. No, it's good that we're in uproar about that. Why? Because that is such an insignificant amount that occurs in day-to-day life. It's good that everyone's up in arms about it, because it goes to show your moral standing that you're like, no, hell no, I definitely wouldn't do that. My God, that's outrageous. You know, but we're told to accept it. It's a very strange society we live in. When conversely, the opposing can't be said for, you know, other elements that we can discuss as, you know, tiny minorities of whatever that perpetrates whatever. So it's interesting. But anyway, overall as an episode, fine, I guess. I don't know where they're going to go with this story. And I alluded to it in another video I've done on the She-Hulk, is that as a character, she's reached that end point. She went through a character arc in the first episode, right? She was Jen, and now she's the bestest at everything as She-Hulk. I don't know where they're going to go with this as a character arc. You know, like I don't see any character arcs happening, so I'm curious as to where they go with it. I mean, everything just seems to be working out well for her. You know, lost a job, got a new one. It's even better. It's like I feel like this character is going to stagnate really quickly in this show. And that's just bad storytelling. You know, her coming to terms with even educating the Hulk, which was in part in the comic, you know, educating Banner on accepting it as a gift, right? They could have explored that, but they chose not to. There's so many different things that they could have gone, and they have sort of neutered themselves. So I'll be intrigued to see where they go. But as an episode, it was fine, I guess. There's not... it's just bad writing overall, though. You know, if your episode's 20 minutes long, you've got a problem. Like, you should be able to uniform your episodes. And loads of people would go, yeah, but if the story's only, it could be told in 20 minutes, it should be 20 minutes. But that's a bad story then. You should be able to uniform your episode length. I mean, as much as we shit all over Netflix, even they can uniform their episode lengths within a couple minutes of one another. Disney, all the money in the world, should be able to do that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. Cheers, ladies and gents. Take care.